Welcome to the Rebel Road Show.
How many tulips is too many tulips?
We're talking with people making money off the beaten path. Let's kick it over to Madeline, who's got some drinks for us.
Tequila, gin.
Oh, and I'm getting paid for this too? Dope.
Every shoot's almost Fyre Fest, right? We're a picture of a sandwich away from just being canceled. Every shoot. Cheers. All right, Jason and Jeremy, welcome to the Rebel Road Show. Now listen, you guys, we've been friends for 20 years, and I have watched you have this meteoric rise to being these business tycoons that have flipped and sold a business, created generational wealth, and you are the type of people that we celebrate on this show. You're true rebels in business. You're all around good dudes, and I couldn't be more proud of you and happy to have you on. So thank you for coming on the Rebel Road Show.
Thanks, Pete. It means a lot.
We also have, we're making this a full college reunion. We got DT in the house bartending. DT is an amazing guy. He's hilarious. He knows a lot of dirt on these two, so that's why he is here, just so we can totally make fun of them and have a good time.
Looking forward to it.
Now, DT, what are we drinking?
This is the DT signature espresso martini. You got Casamigos tequila, which is a little bit of a curveball. Most of them are made with vodka. Just Kahlua and some fresh espresso from Grandma's Kitchen that I brought chilled overnight. And on the bottom, you'll find a chocolate-covered dark chocolate espresso bean there waiting for you when you get to the bottom of the glass.
He was real hyped about this drink. Like, as soon as I asked him to come on, he was like, we're drinking one drink and one drink only. So cheers. Let's see how it is. Thanks for coming on. Now, you guys probably need a lot of espresso because you have full-time teaching jobs and you built this business that you flipped and created generational wealth for you and your family. Talk to me. How did you do that? How could you work from 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and have this company that you built from the ground up and scaled and flipped?
It's a good question. I look back at it and it's kind of like a woman when they're pregnant, right? They tend to forget how bad that labor was until they do it again, right? So how do we do it? We just grind. We worked around the clock. We'd teach from 7 to 3, and then we'd coach in the afternoon. And if I had to take a call or email, we would just address it. We would constantly be working together.
And when we did start, it was pretty much all of our savings, right? So we had to make it work. We bought one truck. We invested in a technician and reached out to all of our contacts, and it had to work, and we believed in it, and it took off. But yes, it was a lot of grit, a lot of hard work around the clock.
I find it that I'm learning a lot more about myself throughout the years, and when I pick something up, I feel like it's like a challenge, and I don't want to lose. So when I decide to go down a road, I'm just gonna go for it, and whether I have to work 12 hours to do it or 24 hours to do it, we figure it out. So I think that's one of the main reasons why we were successful in that business.
Well, you guys were always hard workers, right? Even when before the company was started, Last Bite Mosquito, you were working at beach clubs, you were coaching, like you're always having these jobs after school to make a little extra money. What was the push to be like, you know what, Jeremy, we got to start a business together? Was there attempts before Last Bite Mosquito that you started and didn't work out? Or what were some of the things that almost came to fruition before this one took off?
So my goal, honestly, before Last Bite was to become the GM of Big Monmouth Beach Club or to become an administrator. So those are my goals. And, I was working my way from lifeguard to assistant manager at the beach club. I was helping in administration at the school. And a buddy of mine said, hey, listen, I'm joining this franchise. Look into it. And I did. And I didn't like the franchise model. I talked to Jeremy about it. And he was like, this is something that no one knows about yet. Let's try and go out on our own and see what we could do with it. So we didn't really 100% believe in it at first, right?
No, it was, we were doing this at my house. I think Jason came to me. He said, just like he said, his buddy came up to him, asked him if he was interested in getting into this franchise. And I said, I don't want to get into a franchise. You get a certain region that you can't leave. Otherwise, you have to buy into another territory. We didn't want that. We want to have our own freedom. And so we came up, and you know what? I was like, let's do this, but come up with our own name and, bootstrap it. And that's what we did.
And then by like watching other like friends and local businesses around, I always look at like Holly Migliaccio and Rook. She did an amazing job with branding and customer service and getting out in the community. That was our vision, and I think we kind of stood by it. And when we built our brand, we made sure it wasn't just a magnet on the side of a truck. It was a well-wrapped, thought through design with business cards and uniforms and business plan, systems and procedures that all went into our day-to-day stuff. So we had a vision, and we just had to kind of like,
Yeah, Jason did a really good job with setting those expectations too. Because I remember we were having a meeting at his house. It was one of the first meetings. He's like, all right, we're going to have a business plan. I'm like, a business plan? What's a business plan? So we sat down, we put it together, typed it up, and we went over it, and we had this whole plan, and it went well.
How much money did you have to put in initially? Like, what was the initial investment that you made to launch the company?
I think it was like $21,000.
Yeah, but I think a majority of it was like time. Sweat equity at first is one of the biggest things you need to really commit to. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that commitment. When we're working 7 days a week throughout the whole day, people want days off. They want to take time for their hobbies and the different interests that they want to do outside of working. This was our hobby. Like we taught, we coached, we worked the beach clubs, but this was our hobby. This was our baby that we wanted to continue to feed, build, and grow.
And you had kids at the time.
And we had kids.
Brand new kids.
Yeah.
3-year-old, 1-year-old. And we would come home, sit on a table, open up the laptop, schedule, pick up the phone call up customers, call up potential customers. And that's what we did.
Wow. Now, was there any points in the beginning where you're like, had doubts that this wasn't going to work and wanted to maybe back out, or that failure was not an option?
No, I never had that feeling. Never had that feeling. I was actually sitting in Puerto Rico. Jason, I don't think he was with me. And it might have been our second year. And my phone just kept on. It was like auto pays kept on coming through. Like you get an alert on your phone. I think it was through PayPal. I'm like, oh, wow. 2 minutes later, another one and another one and another one. All these renewals. I'm like, wow. And it was probably our second year in the business. I'm like, this is really working.
It was just like through your website, people are just signing up.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, listen, I had never heard of mosquito control at the time. Derek, when these guys were talking about starting this company, I remember being like, what control? Mosquito control? I'd never heard of it before. And it's not like I didn't believe in you guys. It just was like, I don't know, that maybe they make a little extra scratch. Like, I think maybe people would want that.
Thought it was ridiculous. No, but I will give them credit. They say don't sell the mattress, sell the good night's sleep. These guys sold like the clean backyard.
Yep.
The family gathering. That's their logo. That's what they were good at. The spray, the mosquito spray, was just the product.
Yeah, like why was that the pick? Like what was the spark to be like, we're going to make sure that everyone's yard, it's the perfect area to do it, right? Everyone comes down here for the summer. They want to enjoy it. Like you live down here if you love the summer, right? And you guys created this product that everybody wanted, and I had never even heard of it before. So why mosquitoes?
The market, right? And there was no one around here who did it. When Jason told me about it, I thought the same thing. I'm like, mosquito control? Who the hell is going to buy mosquito control? But we did our research down south. There was a bunch of franchises who did mosquito control, and it worked. There's $1 million companies, Mosquito Joe, Mosquito Authority.
And I built a solid relationship with Brian Hopkins down in Georgia, who is, we're like brothers. Real good dude. Took me in, went down to his house, hung out with him and his family. He comes up to New Jersey, and he kind of walked me through the steps of how to, have a successful mosquito control company, how to treat the right way, what products he used. I think one of the things that kind of led to our success or trying to get it out like rolling right away was we gave out 100 free services. We reach out to all of our friends and family members, the community that, support us, that watch us grow, whose family, whose kids we coached, whose, kids we were watching in the ocean in the summer times. They wanted to see Jeremy and I be successful. So we gave out 100 free services, which led to, hey, this really works. This is a great service. And then yard signs in their yards and their neighbors. And hey, check these guys out. These guys are awesome. And it's a great product. So I think that led a lot to our success also.
Yeah. And when people realize that, right, they're like, you're telling me I will not have any mosquitoes? Sign me up all day long.
Yeah.
Right? People want to enjoy their backyards. They don't want to get bitten by mosquitoes.
Now, early days, are you going door to door? Like what is was there an initial marketing push that got the 100 free services? Are you knocking on doors?
No, we never did door knocking, but what we did do was 4 rounds. So when we had a technician treat a house, we had door hangers, and they would put a door hanger on the 4 houses around the house that they treated.
You guys did an amazing job at marketing, but you had feel like a harder job than most because you had to educate the clients on the service, right? It's like, because I don't feel at that time, what we're talking like 2013, 12?
12, yeah.
2012, like I didn't see one mosquito truck anywhere. Now there's tons of competitors, and every time I see a billboard, I laugh, like when there's this new company that's doing mosquitoes. But you guys really brought that here, and I saw it spread from, locally in this county to like I'm up north and I see trucks and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are everywhere. And then I was like, God damn it, why didn't we get in the mosquito business? But you had to educate your clients. What do you think was the big marketing thing? Like, what led you, besides that 100 free services, to scale so quickly? Because this blew up pretty fast.
Yeah, I believe it had a lot to do with our customer service. So whenever there's a problem or an issue, someone called us, hey, we're having people over and we're getting bit. Don't worry about it. We'll be right there. We'll be there the next day and we'll service the property, make sure it's taken care of. So I think our availability to field calls right away, address those concerns right away, was very important to create that like satisfaction in a customer.
When you put that initial 21,000, that was for what? Your first truck, branding. Was there a hire involved in that, or was it just you two the first couple months?
No, I don't think that was part of our business plan at all for us to ever service properties. The only time we ever serviced properties was when we had to. If a technician called out or if an issue happened, we would go out and do like emergency calls. But the initial fee went to vehicle, insurance, payroll, marketing. And another thing that led to our success was that we were teachers, we were coaches, we were beach club managers. We were able to reinvest that money year after year for about 2.5 to 3 years.
Yeah, we didn't even touch it
before we started pulling money from it. So we're able to, where people may, question whether or not they want to buy that second truck, or if they want to hire another employee, or if they want to hire admin in the office. We were able to say, you know what, let's reinvest that money back into the business and let it continue to grow. So I think that had a lot to do with it also.
It's funny because we had Tommy from the block here, and he did the same things. Like everything was just putting it back, making it better, bigger, better, like just improve the machine. And you two are examples of huge success.
And we knew exactly what we needed. We knew what one truck was going to operate on. We knew what 2 trucks, how many customers. We had an idea how big we were going to grow year after year after year. So we knew in the beginning of the season, all right, we're going to have to buy, 7 trucks, 10 trucks.
So without really being educated on P&Ls, balance sheets, cash flow, and budgets and KPIs, we were doing all those things that we needed to do without actually knowing it, right? Like we didn't know how to read a P&L. We didn't know what KPIs were, but we knew that I was tracking how many calls came in every day. I knew how many calls came in that day compared to the last year, right? How many customers we had, how many we needed to have at the end of the day to grow X amount. So we were just kind of figuring that out as we were growing, but not specifically doing it because that was a KPI. We just did it because it felt right.
What's funny is that I know that your dream early on was to be a principal. Are you Are you grateful that this is the path that it's led you to?
I'm very grateful for the path that Last Bite took me on. I really appreciate education. I love my job in education. That's why Jeremy and I continue to teach. I don't know what my future in educational leadership is. I don't know if down the road maybe there's something that I may eventually pursue, but right now I'm super content with my role. In education, I like to give back. I like to be involved. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with the lifestyle that Last Bite kind of put me on.
Now, I know you were coaching a lot. Did you give up coaching as soon as you started the business, or you learned like after the first year of like, I can't do this also?
No. So in the beginning, I think Jason and I both coached, worked at the beach club, still bartended. At least for the first 2 years, we still did all that on top of ran Last Bite. It was probably until year 3 we actually started pulling back on certain things. I think Jason stopped working at the beach club. I might have worked for one more year. And then we pretty much stopped everything because we were just growing so fast.
And you're Little Monmouth, you're Big Monmouth? You know, I used to mess with you when I had the Wrangler drop top. I would see you outside. It was always shirtless, always.
There's 2 things that Julio doesn't like. It's a bad review and body fat.
That's true. That's true. But I'd go by Little Monmouth, I would beep, and I would go, Jason! And I knew it was him. I just was messing with him real quick while I was passing by. I knew it was you every time. I just want you to know. No, but you guys are like your grind culture. Like, I feel like the fact that you always were grinding, doing jobs, working hard, like everything prepared you for this moment of like Last Bite probably wasn't even that much of a difference in like, yes, it was more mental gymnastics of like learning new things. But as far as working hard, you guys were working hard for years already. Do you think that led to like the fact that it wasn't like, oh, I need a break? You guys never really had a break. You were always grinding.
Right.
Do you feel that like teachers have an opportunity to kind of use those extra hours at the end of the day to set themselves up on these side hustles, and they should do it? Like, is that like something that you would maybe pursue in helping teachers and consulting wise of how to start a business? And
I love to consult and help people who are passionate about starting businesses, but it's not for everybody, right? Like,
right.
People want their time off. They need time to relax. If I don't have something going on, then I start going crazy, you know? So I need that in my life. So yeah, I do think there's opportunity for teachers to kind of, and I know other teachers that do have side hustles that are very, very successful, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
what was like going around school when they saw that this company was getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Like, is that hard to deal with of like, oh, the Last Bite guys, you made it in today, or like whatever. I know that you probably never missed a day and were, you know, doing your duties as an educator, but was there jealousy, extra attention, or anything? Were they trying to throw principal jobs at you at that point once you saw that you're scaling a company like this?
No, I think everyone was pretty much happy for us. On my side, at least in Long Branch, I had a guy that had a lot of support. Yeah.
I like to think that the people I work with supported me throughout the years. But you never know. There's always people who are a little jealous.
Yeah, maybe. It comes with the territory, with success. But
I'll say this, we were all rooting for them when they started, but even when they charged us the full price for mosquito sprays, which I still have a thorn in my side about, but we'll talk about that later, we all stayed with them.
damn, Derek's spicy about the discount. No discount?
The tequila's kicking in, boys.
No TC&J discount? Shit. No, but I remember like, I remember the first time I met you at the block, and you had that lot down the street, and seeing all those trucks. Right. I didn't even realize how big the company was till I saw that parking lot filled with like 30 trucks at the time, which I think you scaled up to 60.
So right before we sold, I took a video, walked around the lot, and we didn't even have all of our trucks there. It was over 50 trucks in the lot, parked. And it was just amazing, just walking around and like seeing, you know, we started with one truck.
And that's what we built. Yeah.
It was really cool.
And like, what were the things you were doing with that one truck? Was it going to parades, going to events? Like what were the things to get recognition in like guerrilla marketing in the community besides those like door hangers?
Well, it was the door hangers, the yard signs, stickers, the parades. We did all the St. Patrick Day parades.
We joined a couple commerces, right?
Chambers of Commerce.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to, we keep saying one vehicle, 50 vehicles. I think that we also look at it more like, all right, the employees that were driving those vehicles for us and operating the business for us on a daily basis
Absolutely.
were incredible people. They were supportive of us as well because we took care of them like they were family also.
Yeah,
So I think
you
that's
were
a big
only
part.
as strong as your team.
Right.
Now, what was the hiring process like? Like, what did you learn in your process of like, all right, this is how we recognize a good hire, and how critical was it to do that, and how quickly did you cut bait on someone that maybe was a bad hire?
Well, when we first started, we were fortunate enough to have we hired ex-athletes, kids who I taught, kids who I coached. I knew their character, I knew they're hardworking, and they joined the team, and it was like hiring a family member. So especially when we had 1-2 trucks, that the hiring wasn't hard.
Yeah, teachers, that's an advantage. That's a hack, right? You see all these people that you've met throughout the years. You know them. What's a better interview than watching how someone learns and handles tasks and all of that? So that's a fascinating thing of like.
We had an advantage because of that. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting. DT, what do you think of these guys' success? Talk to me a little bit.
How much of your success do you owe to the Zika virus? I've always wondered that.
Ooh,
It's a great question.
was there a spike? And what year was that?
I don't know. I forget. But
Zika
when you
virus
saw
came out
Zika on the news, were you like,
Mid
yes, let's
2010s?
go?
Just when we first started, it had come out, and we never wanted to market towards fear. That was never a strategy of ours. It was short-lived. I don't think it was a big part of it. I think the major part of it was that people just hate mosquitoes, right? Like, the hard part of it was to prove to them that we could
Actually stop it.
actually
There's a
stop it,
product out
right?
there
You
that
know,
kills mosquitoes.
so that was a challenge, and us giving away free services, proved that to them. And then once it worked, they were hooked.
Did it come with like free service, but you have to leave a review?
No,
No, never.
but
never
the
that.
reviews were big. Reviews are huge.
Good idea for the next business.
Was there one hire in particular that like changed the trajectory of the company? I know that you used to always talk about Margot, right?
Yes.
Who is Margot, and what does she do for the company, and how much did she help propel it?
Is it fair to call Margot the queen bee? Margot is fantastic. She was a huge part of our company. She was our first kind of one of our main admins, hires, who first started taking in calls as a part-time gig, and it evolved very quickly into her being a manager. And she just kind of took the bull by the horns, and she was a superstar. She's a rock star, and to this day, I speak to her every day. She's one of my best friends.
Like-minded individual, hard worker, 24/7. Whatever we need, she'll do it for us, and vice versa. And she was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Did that kind of lighten the load for you guys to then think about expansion and other more top level things? And she was dealing with, I'm sure there's shrapnel with a service company.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you start, you're wearing 10 different hats, right?
Yeah.
Me 5, well, maybe 7, 3, right? 7 hats, 3 hats, and I was able.
He's
to
the face though. He's the
the face. You mentioned the marketing and going out. He loves that, and he's great at it. So
Hold on,
some of
did
these hats off.
I got to chime in. Did you say he's the face? Do you realize you have the same face?
No,
I
he's
say
the
he's the
abs. He's the abs of the organization.
Jeremy's the reason why we're on billboards. That was his
Got it.
idea for the marketing budget. But Margot,
She dealt with all the complaints.
we took off some hats, right? And she was able to start, managing the customers, and she had the same vision as we did with customer services. Yeah. Answering calls at 9:00 at night if we have to. So, she took that on.
I'm sure that's a crazy burden to have. You're servicing so many people, so many different personalities. There's different techs doing things.
You know what? She was also she was really also really good at saying, all right, we need somebody else here. we need to pull Marissa in. We need to
Knowing
pull
when the
Chrissy in.
workload was too
Knowing
much.
when we needed other people. And Jeremy and I might have been, it's, push the envelope a little bit more. But then, and then she's also very good at creating an amazing culture and climate within our business also. Jeremy and I love to celebrate success, but she was also very good at facilitating that as well.
Yeah. Bringing everyone together, celebrating the team.
I'm sure like you have trucks on the road. Is there accidents? Is there lawsuits?
Oh my
like,
God.
what's the bullshit that went into this 10-year run of trying to build this thing and scale it as fast as you did?
One of the first ones was the incident in Mattawan. I was ready to, it was a Saturday. I believe it was
We're
Saturday. It was
sitting
during
at
the
the beach
summer.
at Driftwood. We're on the beach in Driftwood, and I get a phone call from a customer, and he's like, "I need you to come over to my house and look at my foliage." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, I have $80,000 of foliage that's dead." I'm like, "Huh." My heart instantly sunk. It's the first time I'm dealing with like
How early
a complaint like
in
this.
is this?
This had to be like maybe year 4 or 5, and never once have we had an issue with
I'm
killing
saying
any
that the
kind of
spray was killing
right,
some. Okay.
right. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in business, right?
Right.
Because that's our target.
And you've sprayed thousands of houses at this time.
Thousands. We at that time we were doing maybe 200 a day, right?
200 a day?
200 a day.
Jesus.
So all of a sudden, this guy's and he's a contractor, and the first thing he said to me, "Don't worry about it. Insurance takes care of this kind of stuff."
He's
So-
trying to
he
fucking
knew.
job you for some free trees.
Right. So we go there, inspect the stuff. I'm like, there's no way our stuff did this. But next thing you know, we were ignorant to the process. We informed our insurance company about it. They ended up settling and, paying this guy out. Nothing out of our pocket other than maybe a
No,
little
but
bit
the
higher
insurance
premium.
companies,
premiums go
Right,
up.
insurance company did say that they dropped the ball. They should have definitely not let that happen. Right.
That they should have fought. and-
Yes.
yeah.
So that was one of the first things. But then after that, we've had, trucks flipping off the highway.
Jesus,
Yeah.
really?
Technician fall asleep behind the wheel.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We've had
Accidents, numerous accidents.
total
But
losses.
these things happen, when you have one truck, not so much, it happens once in a blue moon. You have maybe a flat tire, but when you have 50 trucks on a road, that liability grows tremendously.
Now, how did you handle that? And that's got to be stressful. Like not knowing, like
Well,
my cars are out there.
know what?
We're going.
It got to a point where Jason and I would be dealing with it, but then towards the end, it got to a point where, all right, we have a team that takes care of that.
So I'll give you the example with the truck, the gentleman falling asleep and the truck flipping. I'm at school, get a text message. Hey, this is what's going on. Everyone's safe. We have it under control. I get a prep period. I call him, find out what's going on. It worked out. We had someone in place, Anthony and Margo, who were able to, manage it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
No one was severely hurt. I was able to finish my dad's finish school, and then kind of, walk them through it, deal with the insurance, make sure everyone's okay. We've had technicians die, not on our time,
In their terms of working with you, not on the
I had
job.
an amazing guy after a meeting because we would have situations where people just want to show up for work, right? It's a seasonal business. These guys are great, but things happen. People don't show up for work. This gentleman, amazing guy, awesome human being, big bright blue eyes. I look him in the eyes and say, "Hey, Will, thanks so much for everything. I'll see you tomorrow." He said, "Absolutely, I'll see you tomorrow." Next day comes, I get a phone call. So-and-so's not showing up. All
I
right.
go to his house,
He goes to his house.
and he died at home.
Wow. How old is he?
He was mid-50s, early 50s,
Jesus, it's young.
late 40s.
Dealing with that. And then we had several other situations where, technicians passed away. We would, support the families, pay for the funeral, do little things like that, which again, I think the way we cared for our technicians and their families was huge.
And then you started out just down here at the shore, right? Was it Monmouth, Ocean County?
He just started in Monmouth County.
Just Monmouth County.
Yeah.
And then when you saw how successful it was, how quickly did you expand into other territories?
So we started off, our first year we had 300 customers, pretty much Monmouth County. Our second year we had close to 700 customers with about 3 trucks on the road. And then from there, we just slowly, went out of Monmouth County. And then we started our marketing campaigns in those other counties and really did a better job
At the end of each year, we would sit down and we'd come up with a plan. We'd always analyze how the year went. That's the great thing about having a seasonal business. We were able to kind of shut things off, evaluate how the year went, game plan on what we're going to do for the following year. Right?
Like a football season. It was just like, all right.
Just like a football season.
I would tell people that our busy season was our off season.
Right.
Jason and I.
That was the setup for success for the next year.
Yeah, evaluating, interviewing the technicians, game planning for the following year, diving deep into our numbers, coming up with a marketing strategy. Then we also, around year 5 or 6, we acquired a general pest control company, rebranded it Total Home Last Bite Company, and that was great too. Pest control is a great industry to be in. It's awesome. It's
recession proof.
Right. Ain't nobody dealing with that.
No,
you're
it's
gonna come.
bugs,
You're gonna,
right.
Yeah. You have a cockroach in your house.
Yeah,
You're
you
gonna
gotta
wanna
get rid of it.
And you're going to hire the person that picks up the phone, right? The one that you're going to get a live person to, and who's trusted in the community, who's going to do a good job.
Like when you started out, you weren't thinking about building a business and selling it, correct?
No, not even.
It was just
close.
like making an extra 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year. Was that like the goal?
That was
At
the
first.
goal. The goal was to be able to have some extra money.
What was that moment where you're like, holy shit, we have something here?
Probably when I was in Puerto Rico, when I saw those recurrence come in. It's like,
We had a different business model than most, where we, in the pest control world, usually you'll pay monthly, quarterly, or yearly after services. We offer promotions where we collect money all up front. So once we were established, once we knew what we were doing and we knew it worked, we created specials where you do the prepaid special, offer discounts, and we were flush for the whole year. So we were able to operate without the stress of knowing that we could float our business. We knew that the money that came in is going to pay for payroll, it's going to pay for equipment, it's going to pay for everything that we need to pay for. And anything else that comes on after that is all profit.
So no cash flow pressures, which is great.
Right. Which is huge.
As a
right?
business owner, that's the most stressful thing is
Right.
just cash flow.
Yeah.
and I think our most stressful thing was probably employees. Like
Right. You
making
had a lot of
sure-
people.
And then growing. So we grew to the point where we had marketing companies calling us and say, hey, use our product. We're like, why? Well, how much do you want your phone to ring? We're like, we don't want it to ring anymore because it was ringing off the hook, right? We were signing 50 people a day at one point.
Really?
Yeah. So
Now, what did an annual service cost? Like our seasonal service
let's call it
cost?
$500.
$500.
Right.
And you had 50 people calling a day.
Right. So think about it. If it's a 6-month service,
Wow, we fucked
Guys,
up.
I've been meaning to talk to you about my foliage.
Shit.
we
Yeah,
have
my
a
foliage.
conversation?
I got to talk to you about my shrubs. Shit. 50 calls a day. God bless. Let's cheers. I'm proud of you guys. I mean, that's really, I celebrate a lot of people I don't know on this podcast, but this was the one
Yeah,
I was
seriously.
most excited for.
Should I make another round?
Totally. All right. So in the pest control world, there's big players in the space that buy up competitors, correct? It's like that happens in like medical devices. It happens in like
it's happening everywhere.
you fuck around with Johnson & Johnson, you can take a little bit of market share, they're going to buy you out. Like that, or it happens at agencies. It happens everywhere. Did you think that at some point this mosquito business is going to be bought, or when did you realize that like we need to do a whole offering because maybe then that's our exit strategy?
Oh, we didn't have an exit strategy for the longest. I remember, who was it? The company that first knocked on our door, and we went to go sit down with them in Englishtown.
Lawn doctor.
Lawn doctor.
Lawn doctor.
That was one of the first
Yeah,
people
that
who
was-
came up
yeah.
to us, knocked on
Lawn
the door,
doctor came
said,
to
"Do you
us.
want to be?"
So the biggest thing for us was we never wanted to give up teaching. We're passionate about teaching. They approached us and they wanted us to come along and kind of run operations as they scale up the business. So we said no. And we were young at the time. We didn't want to give up teaching. So
How many years in? We're talking like 4 years in?
Yeah, about 4 years in.
Oof,
Yeah.
that must have been enticing though.
it was pretty cool walking into their
The facility,
facility,
yeah,
yeah.
they had, it was all decked out. and very professional. And the guys, they're franchisees, so they got franchises all over the place. And I'm like, wow. But at the same time, we were still growing.
And you were making good money.
Yeah.
You saw the trajectory of like, this thing's working.
We weren't
just
slowing
fine.
down. We didn't slow down at all. And then we had the pandemic, right? People were stuck at home. And
Which was also scary in the beginning
because we
weren't sure.
We didn't know if we were going to be essential or not. Turns out we were an essential business and we were able to continue to operate.
God bless.
And people were at home. So
Right.
they're using your yards more.
All I have is
so
my
we
yard.
even got more calls.
And then
People
you're
signing
not
up.
interacting with anyone, so there's no risk there.
Right.
Okay. So that was a boost. 2020 was a boost.
We had a spike in business that year. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
How did you make the decision of like, okay, maybe we do want to sell this and do something else? Was it was it the asking price just kept going up, or some
No.
company came to you and been like, hey, this you could get a lot of money for this?
No, it just became more of a stress factor. Like, just
The
dealing
bigger
with
it got.
the bigger it got, how are we going to fill these trucks? It just, I mean,
Because at the end of the day, Jason and I never want to disappoint anybody, right? We want to make sure we keep everyone happy. We want to make sure customer service is on point. And the bigger we grew, you had more headaches.
the liability was growing. So we had
And your kids are getting older.
Our kids are so that was another thing. I operate from my phone all day long. Emails, phone calls, and I'm on the phone a lot, talking to management. My son comes up to me one day. He's like, he said, can you, put the phone down or something like that? And I was like, that's the last thing I want my son to remember
Right.
me as being on my phone all the time, so and it's hard when you're working at home, right? You think you're doing the right thing by being at home and being present
Yeah,
as
then
much
you're
as possible.
ignoring 'em more.
But
Yeah.
then, right? What if you're not there? They don't see it, so it doesn't bother them. But when you're there all the time, then it becomes a little bit more of an issue. So that was one of the deciding factors that kind of pushed me in the direction of kind of exiting. But it was also the accidents, the employees, just the different liabilities that were being tied to it.
Looks even better when you pour it. Shit.
I'm a showman. What can I say?
You are a showman.
Edit that out.
He's like, you're a showman. He spills all over the table. Fuck.
Jason introduced me to the boardroom buzz.
The boardroom buzz.
Boardroom Buzz.
Right.
And it's a podcast, great podcast. Anyone who wants to listen to a podcast about service industries, this is a great podcast to listen to. He gets guys on who exited their businesses, super successful. And we started listening to these podcasts and they were amazing. And Jason reached out to him just to have a conversation with him. And that's actually how we started getting into the process of our exit.
Right. So I know a company down in Georgia, Mr. Ryan Klausberg, who again, another guy who is like a tremendous support person for me. We kind of collaborated, throw ideas off each other, kind of whenever there's an issue, we'd help each other out. But he was about a year ahead of us and he exited his business and he sold to Terminex. And we were just right behind him. Talking to him, he used Potomac. Jeremy and I were listening to the podcast. I ended up calling Paul and building a relationship with Paul, finding out all the great things he's doing. So he'll offer evaluations for service type businesses like ourselves. And, when the time is right and no pressure situation, when you feel like you're ready to go, they'll put you out to market and they'll get you the best deal you could possibly get.
So do you recommend that for somebody that's thinking about an exit strategy, that there are mergers and acquisition companies that you should engage to learn about the process, maybe get a couple quotes to figure out how much they think your valuation is?
I think people don't realize that there's opportunities like this out there. Like someone, if I wasn't outgoing enough to build relationships with people outside the state, I might not have even realized that there was this opportunity, right? Because I would have never met Ryan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think,
and that's a big thing you did. You called other mosquito companies in different states and just asked advice
at our level. Paul Bergman, he reached out to us personally.
right. We went out
And
to
sat down with him,
yeah.
and he told us, whenever you're ready to sell, I'd love to sit down with you guys. I'll be your guy type of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we said thank you and had a great time at dinner, and we moved on, and we eventually reached out to Potomac.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, did it take convincing? Now you're working with your brother. I mean, you guys get along. You went to college together. You played football together. You've grown up together. What is it like working together? And then on the exit flip, is one of you more interested in selling than the other and had to convince the other? How did you manage all that?
I think if I told Jeremy we wanted to sell earlier, he would be like, let's go.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, I was ready. I was definitely ready. I'm not a greedy person, and I saw what we were valued at, and I was like, it's good.
Did you have like a holy shit moment when you saw the first evaluation?
No, because of what we were valued at and what people were offering us were different, right?
Okay.
So what we were valued at, we weren't getting offered.
What were those numbers, if you don't mind sharing? Curious.
So how did you calculate it? Was it like revenue times 5 years and then the payout of that?
How did I personally calculate for what was right for
like
me?
what was what was the calculation that people were giving you? Was it just like,
so it's standard industry, like would be like 3x your revenue.
3x revenue?
3x revenue in our industry. And at first we weren't being offered that because of the seasonality of the business.
And it wasn't like, and we didn't also have guaranteed contracts either.
You needed a renewal. It wasn't like a 5-year term.
We had those, but not all of them were.
Right.
Yeah. So eventually Potomac did a good job of getting us to where we wanted to be. And what my number was based off of was to be able to continue my lifestyle. Like Jeremy said, we're not greedy people at all. I wanted to be able to continue my lifestyle the way it was when we had Last Bite, travel whenever I wanted to travel, hang out with my friends, do whatever I wanted to do within our means.
Why not quit teaching?
Because we love it. We love it. I mean, I truly enjoy doing what I do. It's not a burden to me. I get up in the morning. I go to school. I'm in a weight room all day with these kids. I teach them.
That's why he has abs and I don't. He works out all day.
You have abs.
This is getting weird, guys.
I feel like
let's take the shirts off. Let's judge him. Okay.
I feel like it's a part-time job. I mean, for
because you enjoy it.
Not
so
all
much.
teachers, but for me, no.
Think about it, if you're working, you're working from 7 to 3 o'clock, 7 to 2 o'clock.
I teach from 8 to 2.
Right.
I teach from 8 to 2. There's things I do in the other hours for teaching. And you have your summers off. You have winter break. You have Easter break. You have it's a part-time job.
Right.
And for getting paid for what I do, I can't quit that.
It's got an amazing pension.
Yeah, you work 181 days out of the year.
Yeah.
Right? 181 days.
That's that grind mentality though, because most people sign up for those breaks, right? That's part of the job. But you guys always worked the summers and you always were doing extra things. I feel like it all led to this culmination of where you can be like, it's only 181 days. Where there's a lot of people are like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to go back. Like,
I looked at my schedule for next year already. I'm like, it's almost over.
That's something to consider. I think it's a different mindset, right? To have that mindset of, hey, I have all this extra free time and I can do more. Yeah. And I think that if you have the right personality and you're hungry and you want to make a change and you're a teacher, I think that there's a lot of opportunity out there. And you should call you two to figure out how to maximize that.
Absolutely.
Teacher consultant, side hustle. You're the side hustle kings right now, I would say. Right?
That's a great title.
That's a good one. I like
Side
that.
hustle.
I like that.
I'll brand it that way. That's what
I
you
like
do.
that.
All right. So you make this sale. Now what? Now you sitting back? You're sitting pretty and just teaching. I'll have a great pension.
These
I
guys
got this.
can't sit back. They
Buy
don't
some
do
Bitcoin.
that.
What are we doing? What's the plan? You now have another business you're launching.
We started another business. It's interesting.
It's a real shitty business.
It's called Rough Stuff.
Okay.
And it's a pooper scooper company that picks up dog shit in people's yards.
Listen, you have the database of contacts, right? You know who to reach out to, who, you've done this before.
Well, outside of that, I mean, I have one dog. One dog is manageable. There's a lot of people that have 2-3 dogs. When you're talking about 2 or 3 dogs in someone's yard, crapping all day, that's a lot of crap.
It's a lot.
So someone like us, we come in and we charge $20 a week to pick up dog shit. It's not that bad. One drink costs $20 at a bar.
Right.
And
so this is the new business. You got a truck.
Got a
They
truck.
just like trucks. That's a fucking. These are just they're 6-year-olds that like trucks.
They're just Hess kids, just playing around with trucks.
So you have a new business that you're launching. You're doing it together. What was it like working with each other? How did you figure out who's doing what?
I think at first, I think it was like challenging at first, right? I think because naturally, we didn't know who was going to be the leader, right? Who's going to take control, and I think that eventually, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you're both competitive people.
Jason came up to me with the idea, right? So, I was along for the ride. Not along for the ride per se, but
along for the ride was good.
Whatever happened worked. So kudos to both of you.
I think we do a really good job working with each other.
We both have our strengths, right? We all have our weaknesses. So we kind of work off of those with each other. And we figured those out throughout the years, and we capitalized off of them.
Did it ever cause you two to have like bad disagreements?
I think at first, when we didn't know those roles, I would expect more from him, or I would want him to do something. But meanwhile, that might not have been the best thing that was suited for him, right? And throughout the years,
and then you had the pressure of making a decision that doesn't pan out, and then he's like, "What the fuck, Jason?"
I remember you guys getting in fist fights in college on the football field.
We don't need to talk about that.
Two of the most competitive dudes I know.
Yeah, you are very competitive. But like, at what did all those years of playing sports together, growing up together? I mean, you guys, whether you want to admit it or not, you love spending time with each other.
we have an incredible bond. We have an incredible bond.
We live 4 blocks away from each other. We have 2 kids each that are best friends.
They're best friends. They're considerably closer to being siblings than cousins, right?
Yeah.
So they're always hanging out. We're always hanging out. We're best friends, and I think the business, whether or not there was ups and downs, actually made us closer.
Let's talk about your marketing. You leaned into the fact there are 2 of you. You're handsome, good-looking dudes. You played around with it, whether it was like video game style things or you had this mascot. What was the ideation behind that? And when did you realize that, the sillier we get with these things, the more memorable it's going to be?
I always thought that we sell ourselves, right? We're twins. We're okay looking, hardworking.
They've been in Cosmo magazine, okay?
Cosmo.
Oh, let's tell a story. They were in South Beach for spring break. I didn't go. I regret it because Edgerrin James.
Edgerrin James, yes. Yep.
Edgerrin James sees them. I don't know how it happened, but all of a sudden he starts taking all the boys out to go clubbing because you 2 good-looking studs happened to be there, and he knew maybe that would help him get even more girls when he went to the club in South Beach. Correct?
Yes. True. Correct.
I had no idea that happened. I gotta ask Nick because Nick was there.
Was Nick there? I wasn't there.
It happened.
Was Nick there?
It happened.
I don't know if Nick was there.
Okay.
I don't think Nick was there. Nick was in Canada with us, Montreal.
Okay.
Yes, I was there for that one as well, but I didn't go to the South Beach one, and when I heard that, I was like, God.
Edgerrin James, Julius Peppers.
Julius Peppers?
Julius Peppers. And Santana Moss.
Wow.
Just decided to take you guys out because you're handsome?
Well, just know that, hey, and they happened to be in Cosmo that year. There was a twin issue? Something?
That picture of you 2 and Cosmo hung in our locker room for quite some time.
Did it really?
Yeah. We celebrated that. Celebrated.
I believe the story is Edgerrin James sent a fleet of Bentleys to the hotel to pick the boys up for a night out. Is that true?
That never happened, but it was supposed to happen. We were looking out for purple Bentleys driving up the road. Yeah.
But it didn't. He just said, meet me at this spot.
Pretty much.
Bentley doesn't
We got
make
to cut the
a
line.
purple. They don't make one.
But yeah, so listen, you're good looking guys. You leaned into it. And you had some funny stuff. When did you decide that, all right, let's keep pushing that? Did you enjoy the process?
Well, we've enjoyed the process. I had a lot of fun with it. That's something I was really passionate about. Talking about our roles. I had fun coming up with these different ideas. And when Jason put it on Instagram, he got a lot of views. So I'm like, hey, let's keep this up. We're getting a brand out there, and it worked.
I saw there's the basketball one. There's the fighting one. There's
Street Fighter one.
It was good. It was very good. It was very creative stuff. And did you see a spike from that? Or did you not? Was it more so just to be like, let's get a little brand recognition out there?
I think it had to do with the brand recognition.
Staying relevant.
Yeah, being relevant. And people were like, well, we saw that video, or
Yeah. Your success is proven. It's something to really celebrate and put on a pedestal. And even more so, what we've skipped probably the biggest takeaway is that you came from very humble beginnings. Like, you had a single mom, there was a waitress that raised you two, probably with some financial strain growing up. What did your mom do to set these two beautiful human beings in front of me up for success? Because whatever she did obviously worked.
First off, I want to give my mom all the credit in the world.
Love you, Mom.
She did an amazing job. Single parent, raised 3 amazing boys, 3 successful boys, me, Jason, and my younger brother, Joey. It wasn't easy for her. She worked around the clock as a waitress, cleaning houses, busted her butt. But it wasn't easy for us either growing up. And did she make sure that we had everything growing up? Yes, absolutely. We never went hungry. We never missed a birth. She never missed a birthday, Christmas. She did an amazing job. But we saw that the life that we grew up with, and we didn't want that for ourselves. So I think
you probably saw how hard she was working, right?
A constant message my mom always gave us was, you don't want this life for yourselves growing up, and you don't want this life for your family.
Totally.
And she instilled that and made sure that you guys knew that. And you saw how hard she was working. And it feels like no matter what, even though, you graduated from a good school, you had a good teaching job and a great community.
All the time.
Yeah, we got punished all the time. She made sure we were hanging out with the right people.
It's probably easy in Long Branch at that time, especially in the 90s, to fall into some bad groups. How did she keep you out of it?
We had a really good community of you could go either way, left or right. But we had a really strong community of family, close-knit families and kids that really supported us, that kind of took us under the wing and helped and guided us. So I think they had a lot to do with it. But then also, my mom, like Jeremy said, we were punished all the time. We stepped out of line in a second, we didn't have phones at the time, but we'd be punished, It
was a strict household.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely strict, yeah.
Like what kind of things? How strict was your mom? I need to know this. I want to raise. I'm trying to raise my own kids to be successful. Teach me the ways.
She'd scare you, right? By screaming
But what things were not tolerated?
We had a curfew. We couldn't come home past a certain time. It was probably the earliest out of all of our friends.
We would have to
no sleepovers,
and every time
I wasn't
on
sleepovers either.
And every
sleepover
time,
nothing but trouble. Let's remember that.
Every time we came home, my mom would
have to wake her up,
breath test us, so we'd have to blow our breath in our face.
Interesting.
Every time, and you know who would have to do it? Me.
I would always send Jason.
No
Altoids?
Altoids?
He was the first one in. So if he got in trouble, I didn't have to worry about anything.
Who was the first out of the womb? Was it
Jeremy, I'm going to assume.
Yeah.
so that's Uno reverse card on you, Jason. Now you're going in the house with the booze on your breath.
So how did your mom push you guys to choose teaching as a profession and to kind of be on the straight and narrow? So I'm going to give a lot of credit to her.
Teaching wasn't an option until probably my sophomore year in college. I had really good PE teachers growing up, Billy George, Kim Baker, a bunch of others. And, I saw their lifestyles and I was like, oh, this is a great lifestyle. I want to do this. So I went to school as a communication major. Sophomore year, I switched to physical education, and it was a great decision.
Yeah, I was a business major, marketing, and I saw what all the football guys were doing. And I was like, that's what I got to be doing.
And look what you used more.
Yeah.
Look what you used more of. Those couple classes you took freshman year probably panned out.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah,
they did. Right. Everything happens for a reason. You needed that little boost that freshman year to make that business plan.
Yeah.
Now, were you YouTubing? How did you learn how to do these? You're saying things like KPIs and things.
I consider myself like a thief in a way, where I kind of look at what other people are doing, successful people, even growing up, at the beach clubs, looking up to different members, or in business, looking at the bigger companies, just trying to infiltrate and look at and see what they're doing and trying to implement that within our businesses, just try and do things the right way.
Listen, there's a lot of people that say that the world is a stage, right? We're all acting a certain way. It's just what role do you want to play in the movie of life? And so if you're seeing what successful people are doing and you copy it, you're just studying for the role. And we're all right. Is that a fair assessment?
I love it. We all stand on the shoulders of giants.
And espresso martinis. No, but listen, I like what you guys did was incredible. And like, I don't think you're a thief by doing that. I think it's just being smart, and you're learning from people who have done where you want to be, and look where you got. Like it's incredible where you got. You went from running the beach club to now you can fucking buy one if you want. So that's amazing. Now let's get into it, because these guys wake up at 5 a.m. every day and work out.
4:30.
4:30.
Yeah.
But you're at the gym at 5.
Yes.
So obviously time management is something that you're very successful at. You wake up at 4:30, you go to the gym, you work your fucking ass off. Talk to me. How do you have enough energy? Like, what are you doing? What do I got to eat? How do I got to sleep? Teach me the ways.
I'm in bed by 9 o'clock every night.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What about you?
9,
10?
10 o'clock. Yeah.
4:30, you're up and working out. And what things are you doing? What's the style? Is it CrossFit? Is it?
Yeah, we go to a gym, Foundry in Little Silver. It's awesome. It's a CrossFit gym. I started maybe 4 years ago. He's been there about 5 years. We got a bunch of great guys there. Nikki T, DT's brother, works out there.
Brother looks great.
Sue,
Not as good as me.
Sue Tranquina, DT's wife goes there.
My wife goes there. I spent some time at Foundry.
He does have a wife. He does have a wife.
Does have a wife, lady. Sorry.
Sorry, lady.
How do you have enough energy to work out 5 to 6? Show up to work at 7. At 3 o'clock, you're dealing with whatever tragedies have happened in the service world. What was that last 10-year grind like, and what are the keys? Is it to staying sane in that regard?
I need that workout to get me going. It motivates me. It wakes me up. I feel good after the workout, and after that, it's a kickstart to the day.
It's a therapy session. I think
The mental aspect.
Yes, definitely. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Everybody's got to do it.
Yeah.
There's so many people that don't do it.
It's crazy.
You got to move.
I mean,
We're not
you
meant to
gotta
sit in
feel
a
good.
cube
no.
and sit at a desk.
Could you imagine?
No.
Like this, not moving?
No, yeah. And there's people that don't do anything. It's wild. Like, you need to just start wherever it is. Like, whatever journey you're on to get into shape, just move and do it for the mental. Don't worry about results. And look, it's led you guys to be able to have the energy. By expelling energy in the morning, you've had energy for the rest of the day doing things.
Right.
I think
And then
that's
having a
testament to
routine,
it.
knowing that I'm going to go to the gym I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. the next day. I know I have to go to bed at 9 o'clock. So I have enough energy to kind of
Keeps you disciplined.
Yeah.
How big was routine in this entrepreneurial journey?
It's huge. We met weekly on certain days for a certain amount of time. Routine's everything. I feel it. Routine and
If you don't
discipline.
have it,
Yeah.
you're not going to be successful.
Now, a part of your marketing, I'm sure, and you do it more probably for fun, was these challenges that you do. I'll name a few. I'm sure there's some that I'm missing, but the big one that stood out to me is you decided to paddleboard, stand up paddleboard from Sandy Hook to New York.
No, that would have been incredible. So my first one I did was a stand-up from Cape May to Delaware Lewes,
Okay.
Delaware, which is where the Lewes ferry goes.
And you raised money for charity
I raised about maybe $5,000 for charity. That was my first time doing it.
how many miles is that?
17 miles.
17 miles.
So my buddy John Majeski, ServPro, Long Branch, Eatontown, and a couple others, a little shout out, said, "Hey, listen, do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Sure. What does that entail?" He says, "Well, you have to have experience doing stand-up paddleboard." So I'm like, "I don't have any." He's like, "Well, I'll tell the guy that, we were lifeguards and we'll get into this race." I'm like, "Okay."
It was a race. How'd you do in the race?
Last, but he still did
Last.
Definitely didn't come in last. All right.
Hey,
I got it done.
You still beat everybody on the couch, brother.
You beat everyone watching at home.
It was an amazing experience. And I did it for everybody else, raised good money. After that, I did the New York Sea Paddle, which was around Manhattan.
Okay.
I did
That's
that.
the one where you trailed him in the boat?
No. He did it the second time. So this was a paddle around Manhattan.
It was a race, another race.
Another race.
Okay.
And then I did that the next year. I did that as a team event.
And then this is all also you're raising money for. It was a Limelight, so it's related to the
disease,
business.
Absolutely, we tied it to the business.
It's part of the marketing.
Yep.
Which is great. It's impressive to do it. You know, I waited to donate until I put you guys over I wanted to be the guy that put them over the
You
goal.
were very generous.
I was like, hold on. I was like, I was watching all day. I was like, I'm gonna wait. I want Rebel Road to be the one.
You're the man. Thank you. That was
Jason,
awesome.
Marketing for you.
guys are-
Everybody gets free marketing. Let's do
So
it.
listen, so Jason was just on a boat filming you. Is that what happened?
That
You
time,
were doing
Jason-
the
that
work.
event.
Okay,
That
all
event.
right.
Yes. Jason joined in the following year. We did
The row.
which was that was a big one.
3 days.
It was a 3-day event, 2 boats, and we rode from Cape May to Sandy Hook, the tip of Sandy Hook.
So how many miles is that from Cape May to Sandy Hook?
Cape May to Sandy Hook was 130 miles.
130 miles in the ocean
Yeah.
in a lifeguard rowboat,
Self-bailer, yeah.
self-bailer. All right, so you've done that. Now that was 2 challenges ago.
That was 2. Well,
Yeah.
last year we ran a mile every day for the whole year.
The whole year. Yep. Every day. Didn't miss a day. We could have been on vacation. I was in Vermont running in the snow a mile outside every single day, no matter what.
Had to be outside, no treadmill.
No, we
actually.
can use treadmill.
Okay,
We definitely
okay.
use treadmills. I was sick, 103 fever, ran a mile, no excuses. Every single day for a whole year, ran a mile.
Wow.
Did that, and then
And then this year was the
bike.
bike.
High Point, New York to Cape May.
How many miles was that?
217,
217.
216. What was it?
217.
217.
No, you guys aren't cyclists, as far as I know. Well, you are a little bit. You're not.
We've both been cycling for about 20 years. You know,
We bought Cannondales right after college, and we started doing like sprint triathlons and would jump on a bike once in a while. Nothing like we just got ourselves into.
217 miles in one day.
one day.
Wow. What was that like? At what point did you want to bail from that one?
Probably around a mile, like 120 or so, 120. The first 50 miles was great. It felt great. The next 50 miles felt good. But then the last, up to that 120 point, my knee started to really hurt. Some stabbing pains in my knee. And I think it had to do with like my IT band. So I took my shoe off, took the cleat off, which allowed me a little bit more like mobility. And then I kind of started cycling again, and it went away. So after that point, I was good.
Yeah, I was about around maybe 207 miles because we missed our last stop.
You didn't want to quit till 207 miles.
Well, we were doing a really good job of
Last 10
hydrating
miles
ourselves.
were hard. And you were on the news.
Yeah, for the row and for this, which was pretty cool.
It's very cool. Did it help marketing wise at all, doing these challenges and getting this attention?
It's just exposure. You
Right,
know, just
yeah.
you're exposing your brand. You're raising money for a great cause.
You're bettering yourself, challenging yourself, pushing yourself.
So it's all aspects.
What do you guys eat? Who are you, the snacker, and he's very strict?
So
What's
we'll
the
go
deal?
out. You've been out to dinner with us, Pete. I'll eat
I
everything.
don't watch what you're eating.
I'll eat everything on the plate, right?
Okay.
Jeremy will eat half of it.
Is that what you do? You're disciplined.
Or order a salad.
You can't be afraid to order a salad with some good
No,
chicken.
no. I'd rather
You can't
not
eat
order
a
salad.
cheeseburger every single meal.
That's
Boo, salad, boo.
What do you have a strict diet?
So Monday through Friday, I really try to stay. I try to make sure I'm eating clean. Try to stay away from bad carbs. Eat vegetables, good proteins, chicken.
Where are your good carbs coming from? Potatoes?
No, broccoli, vegetables.
Just vegetable carbs.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's like a keto kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, Maria's Peruvian, right?
Yeah.
A lot of rice in my house.
A lot of rice.
Yeah. It's good.
Does
Love
he
it.
remind you of that?
No, when she's cooking, I want to come over.
All right.
I just don't get to reap the benefits like he does.
So a lot of rice. But you're in good shape.
I think I'm in good shape.
You're in
Yeah.
good shape. So
He's gotten in much better shape.
because you've been working out with him.
He's been doing a better job with his diet.
I've been dialing in on my diet a little bit more.
Jason likes a cookie here or there.
Well, that's what
no
I-
sweets?
No,
That-
absolutely.
that's what I'm
I
in
do.
You do
avoiding.
sweets.
Yes.
Okay. On the weekends.
Weekends, yeah.
Okay.
So I would do it every day. So I'm cutting back on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then no processed. You're very organic, clean.
Try.
You try.
Yeah, you get moderation is everything.
What about
right?
alcohol? I know we're doing it now.
Monday through Friday, try not to. I'm
Not
not one of
to.
those guys who come
Weekends.
home and, crack
Yeah,
a
me
beer, on the weekends.
This is really the only time I drink is when I do these. So, or if I'm out with
Dinner with the Julios and
Madame Beauvoir over there. I don't know. You had a very
She hasn't-
fancy hat.
Great name.
you look great.
Now let's get to the fun stuff. You're twins, okay? So I have there are some famous twin conspiracy theories that are in the NBA and UFC world, and I'm curious if you've had some. So, you know the Morris twins. Is this like a twin thing? You know every twin?
No.
There's Marcus and Markieff Morris. They're NBA players. Now, there is a rumor that in the Eastern Conference semifinals in 2017, Markieff he sprained an ankle, had to leave the game. The next game, he came back, had an amazing game. And people assumed that Marcus might have put on his jersey and played.
Really?
Another one is Matt Hughes from the UFC. There's a rumor that just came out in the last couple of years that during weigh-ins, he would send his brother Mark Hughes in, and he would be rested
Wow.
a little bit heavier, not having to drain. That's another conspiracy theory, the swaparoo. Have the Julios ever swaparooed?
Yes. It was a third grade spelling bee. I made Jason come in.
Is that for real?
This is for real. I remember going into the bathroom and switching shirts with him.
It was a spelling bee. And I got the word wrong. And the teacher knew automatically that it was
you?
Jason would have never gotten that wrong.
Is it true that you guys were once driving and got pulled over? One of you was driving and didn't have their license on them, grabbed the other one's license, and when the guy said the name, you corrected him with
Yes. That is true. And I
Who did it?
think it
Was
was
it you?
me. I had to be 17 years old. And imagine being 17 years old, it being the first time you've ever been pulled over, right? Like
And didn't have your wallet on
I didn't
you.
have my, and then your whole life being called somebody else and then instantly correcting them. So an authoritative figure asked me what my name was. I'm like, no, I'm Jason.
What'd they do? They let you
They
slide?
let me slide. Yeah.
Okay. You think that being twins in business, other than like the notoriety factor of being unique and memorable, but do you think that this connection that you two obviously had, you've done all these things together, do you think it led to success, whereas maybe an older brother and a younger brother in a family business may not work? Is there something about being twins that has, do you think, made it easier
Well,
to work
if
together?
you think about like our whole life, we've always been together. We've done everything together versus like a older brother, younger brother. They might have different experiences throughout life. We've experienced everything together. So I think that has a lot to do with it. That bond growing up and then being in business and being competitive and wanting the most for ourselves and having that grit, the same type of thing. I think it's definitely different, than any other type of sibling relationship could offer.
You agree?
I do. Yeah.
Now, there's so many people that are going to school and trying to get corporate jobs because they think that's the way to go. And right now we're at this stage where boomers are giving up all these businesses. There's opportunity to buy. What have you learned from going where opportunity lies versus worrying about like, oh, I work in pest control or whatever, like the stigmas that come with certain like blue collar jobs versus like somebody that thinks they've made it in a white collar corporate cubicle somewhere.
I don't know how many people actually realize how much money you can actually make with those blue collar jobs.
Right.
And there's a lot of opportunity out there. Like you said, the baby boomers they're leaving, and there's a lot of opportunity to swipe up a business and really grow it from one truck or one brick and mortar and really implementing like new technology and just really blowing it up.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just like scared to take that first step, initial step. I think about my own kids, I obviously want them to go to college and stuff, but entrepreneurship is like huge and there's a lot of opportunity in it. And I think, again, we love education. If we didn't love education, we wouldn't be doing it still. But I think there's just so much opportunity out there that you can create for yourself if you aren't scared to take a chance.
Now, as a teacher, though, do you see certain students where you're like, hey, man, you might want to go get a trade and you can make $100,000 plus doing something that maybe the rest of your peers aren't going to do without the debt? Do you buy into that at all? Of like,
I think more students should be doing that. So I don't think you should stereotype a student who should be going to college because they're great academically. I think that kid who is great academically could be super successful in a trade.
Right.
As a business owner, right?
There are plumbers out there making a lot of money, electricians making a lot of money.
Well, you don't even need to be a plumber. You can operate a business, hire a plumber, and grow the business that way.
Right.
Yeah, there's tons of opportunity, and in those trades, there's less and less people doing it year after year,
Right.
because they've been so geared towards that educational phase of college, and and then you leave college and there's no career for you. There's no opportunity. So I really like the entrepreneurial type like businesses, because the harder you work, the more money you're going to make. I could be the best teacher and work as hard as I can, and I do in education, but I'm not getting paid any more than anybody else. I'm getting paid just as much as the worst teacher in that building. If I work harder than any entrepreneur, I'm going to get paid more.
Right.
It relates.
What do you hope people learn from your story? Like for the people that are, or maybe grew up in a similar circumstance to you and happen to stumble upon this podcast and see the success story in front of me.
You don't need to settle for that first thing, right? Because Jeremy mentioned before, we were successful because we went to college and we graduated. Then we got a job as educators, and that was success for us. There's more out there, right? So take those chances, understand that you don't have to settle, and sky's the limit.
And continue to learn, right?
Be resilient. Don't be afraid to fall, and continue to learn.
And don't wear sneakers in the ocean.
Listen, this was a lot of fun. I've been waiting for the day that you guys were going to be at this podcast. DT, I'm glad that we could work it out on a Friday that you could be here. These drinks are too good.
Thanks for having me. I love it.
But it's going to be a good weekend, and I'm so grateful that you guys came out here, and I wish you the best of luck. I know that success is just going to keep following you wherever you go, and I'm just proud to be your friend. I just want to say that.
Thank you, Pete. This has been amazing.
Cheers. DT.
Cheers, man.
Pleasure.
Great times.
Zux. Send it to the internet, brother.